Owen Stickler, we meet again. How tragic would it be if it turned out Owen Stickler wasn't an external examiner and he'd be replaced by someone? If so, I apologise. Anyway, welcome to my third Casebook entry, now in slightly better lighting, so you can see my face in all its wide glory. Today we are looking at Broken Foot, the simplest of the four animations. Like all my animations, I improvised this entirely, but for the sake of this casebook, I have to give some inspiration. So in that regard, I would say that my biggest inspiration, if there were any, would be Mr. Bean. Just like Tom Jones and Andy Murray, Mr. Bean is a staple of Britain. He revolutionised physical comedy and how one would go about physical comedy, not just through the character of Mr. Bean, but especially in some of Rowan's earlier work. You can tell that physical comedy was his niche. He was superbly good at it. For me, the main thing about Atkinson's work that inspired me with my film was the theme of interaction. With Mr. Bean, it's a very childish man with a childish brain interacting with a regular, sensible world. And so that's what I wanted to show in my film, sort of interaction between a world and a setting and a character. The only difference is I've strived to be different, and so I've flipped the roles. It's not a childish man in a regular world, it's a childish world and a regular man. If my short were a Mr. Bean sketch, the armature would be the childish one, entering in a funny way and then doing something silly with the block bed thing. But in my film, it's the other way around. It's the block bed world setting, interacting with the armature and making his life a misery. By the way, for those who want to know how long this vlog is taking me, just watch the light fade from the windows. For idea development, this was an improvised project, so most of it was done on the day. The only thing that I definitely knew I wanted to happen was the armature's foot to break, and then I just worked backwards from there as to thinking about how that would happen. And then I got inspired by my pirate animation with the camera tilting. I thought I could incorporate that into the film, but instead of the camera tilting to imitate a scenario or a setting, the camera would be its own character, acting against the armature. Behold my reference video, which is just about as simple as the actual animation itself. There wasn't any technical prowess to be seen here, just a simple animation with simple things going on, and some simple physical comedy, which is what I wanted to portray. Just like my animation and also my reference video, my storyboard is simple. One of the reasons I like this animation in particular is because it's all happening in one shot. The audience's focus is never broken by cuts. It's just one continuous sketch. The making of this production was okay, actually. Compared to the others, it was a cakewalk, but that's only because not as much happens in it. And I think the only hard part was the armature standing up again, which, if you see in the final product, is not that smooth, but still. As I keep saying, because this was a simple animation, the behind the scenes work was simple too. This was the easiest out of the four to make. So, evaluation time. I would say that as a physical comedy short, my animation fulfills that purpose. It's just very simple. There's a block, there's a character, they interact, that's it. So yeah, it accomplishes that, I think. There are a few tweaks I would make to it. As I mentioned before, the standing up, that was a little bit ishy, not too proud of that. But yeah, I think a test would have been helpful, but not in the same way that a test for, say, stealth takedown was helpful. I think because of the simplicity of the short, not much preparation or practice was needed. Congratulations, examiners, you've made it this far. Now go off, get yourself a biscuit, and then come back for the fourth and final casebook. Bye for now.